Hi everyone. Hello and welcome to another Spiderman Alpha Bracelet. So this is going to be the continuation of a bracelet I've done before. So I'm just going to be giving you the measurements, and I've done three of this already. So I'm assuming that you know how to start it. And if you've not watched those ones, please go and watch that, because this one is the advanced tutorial. So I'm not going to be explaining a lot of things here, and I'm going to be making a shaped alpha start. Like I'm going to be making really shaped. It's not triangle, it's going to be shaped. Now that I've said that, I hope you understand. And after one more repeat of the scene, we're gradually going to get started. So just bear in mind, so this is for this is the advanced tutorial because someone requested it. And it took me a long time, but I'm finally doing it. So let's get right into the tutorial, and thank you. So now we're going to get started by making using our leading string. We're going to make a backward forward knot. Sorry, forward backward knot. Let's make a forward backward knot. And now because our bass strings are 13 string alpha, but we have 12 bass strings and one leading string. So we're going to divide our bass strings into two. So we have 6 on one side and 6 on the other. Make sure you count to be sure you have 6 on each side. So now getting started with the right side, we're going to make a backward forward knot. Ignore the fact that I made a forward knot here. I was supposed to make a backward forward knot, but as you can see, I made a mistake, so I went to loosen it and make a forward knot instead. But on the left side, on the right bunch, I'm sorry, on the right bunch, I'm going to make a forward backward knot this time. So now, like how we do in triangle stars, we're going to remove one bracelet and one string from each side. So we have 5 in the bunches and we have 2 in the middle. So with starting with the one on the right, we're going to make another forward backward knot. Then we're going to make 2 backward knots on the strings in the middle. So now for the left side, what we're going to make this time is going to be a backward forward knot. That's half a backward, half a forward. So again, we're going to remove 2 strings from each side, one from the left and one from the right. And then you make another backward forward knot on the left bunch. At this point, you have 4 strings that are in the middle. Just remove the one from the right now. We have 4 strings in the middle. Make forward knots this time. So you have 4 forward knots. So now we're on the right bunch. We're going to make a forward backward knot. This is, I think you should know that this is the straight edge technique. Okay. So we're going to remove one from the same bunches again, one from the left, one from the right. And we're going to make another forward backward knot. Please, if you can, ignore the background noise. I am currently in my dorm/hostel. And at this point, this time you should have 6 strings that are in the middle. So make 6 backward knots this time. Still coming from the right, so it's going to be backward knots. So now we're going to go and make a backward forward knot on the left edge. And now we're going to remove one from the bunches again. So we're going to have 8 in the middle, 2 on each side. So we're going to start again with another backward forward knot. And then we're going to make 8 forward knots. Isn't this just fun? So here, now we're going to make a forward backward knot on the edge here. Ignore what I did previously. I made one extra forward knot and I shouldn't have, so I loosened it and I made a forward backward knot. So now we're going to open it because this is like the end. We're going to make another forward backward knot. This is the end, and this is going to be the last row for our starts. So from the next row, we start counting. Actually, you can count this row as your number one, but I'm choosing not to. So you're going to do 10 backward knots because you're moving one from each side. Technically, you're just opening one from each side because now we don't have any more bunches. We just have clean strings. So here we're making our last backward knot. And now I'm going to make the next one, which is going to be a backward forward knot. That's going to be the last knot I make for this one. And then after that, I am going to just freeze the screen a bit. Just want to tell you that I'm going to say that you're going to make 20 rows, 20 plain rows. I froze the screen. So now we're actually going to get into the tutorial again. So I've made my 20 rows now. I'm going to start by what you see on the screen. And you're going to count 4 strings on the left side and put that to one side. And then you're going to make one backward forward knot on the right side. Then we're going to swap to our red string. And like I said before, this is for advanced people, so you should already know how to swap strings. I'm assuming you do. So make your first forward backward knot, and then we're going to swap to our red string. So now we're going to get started by taking our red string and putting it under in between the new string we want to swap to. You can choose to tape this down or you can just hold it down. I'm taping it down for this tutorial though. So I'm going to pick up that string and I'm going to use the red string and make a backward knot, the first half of the backward knot actually. And then I'm going to take the black string and pass it through that, like on top of it and under the rest of the base strings. And then I'm going to take the red string and complete my backward knots. Then I'm going to use that same red string and make 6 more backward knots. And now we're going to start by swapping back to our black string. So we're going to bring our black leading string back, because we're going to be using that to make 4 backward knots, like 3 backward knots and 1 backward forward knot on the edge. So 4 backward knots. And I'm going to swap strings because I've shown you how to do it already. So we have 2 more backward knots and 1 backward forward knot. So now we're just going to begin the next row by making 1 backward forward knot and 1 forward knot. Then I'm going to swap to our red string. We're going to make the next 2 forward knots with the red string. So, make the first half, pass the previous leading string through, and then make the second half. And this time, pass the string through and move it towards the left, because we're going to be switching to another color, which is going to be white. And you don't want like your strings to get tangled somewhere in between the bracelet because it might stick out. So now we're going to swap to our white string, because we're going to make 4 knots, forward knots with the white string. So we're going to make 4 forward knots using the white string. Now you can tape this down. I don't know why I decided not to, but you can tape this down. Or you can hold it to the back if you're very sure about it. And then you can swap your red string normally. Let it go towards the right this time, because you're going to be swapping back to your red string soon. And make 3 more forward knots with the white string. And now swapping back to our red string, we're going to make in 2 forward knots using this red string. And this time when you're swapping your red string, you're going to put your white string towards the left now. That's towards the back, the left. Because you're going to be not you're going to use it again for this row, and you're going to use another color soon, so you don't want it to, as usual, get in the way. So now we're going to swap back to our black string, and be careful when you're bringing this string back. You do not want your white string and it to cross at any point so that it doesn't stick out. So swapping back, we're going to do 1 forward knot and 1 forward backward knot with this string. And now to begin the next row, we're actually going to make 3 knots with the black string. So you're going to have your first forward backward knots, and then you're going to have 2 with the red string. So I'm just counting my strings out now. Not you don't have to do this or anything. And then on the edge, I'm going to make 1 backward knot with the blue, and then 2 with the red. So I'm still going to be making 4 with the white string, and you can see like I've set everything out, so I know what color switches to make when. So let's get started by making our first. Excuse me, making our first forward backward knot with the black string. Then we're going to make 2 backward knots using our black string. And now we're going to swap to our red string to make 2 backward knots using this. And now we're swapping to our pretty white string now. Now, I don't think I mentioned, but I think if you've not put your black string towards the right side, please do so now. So you can bring in your white string peacefully. So we're just going to swap to white and make 4 backward knots using this string. So now we're going to swap back to our red string because we need to make 2 knots with the red string. That's 2 backward knots with the red string. Now, you're going to swap the string. We're going to take the white string, like when you make your first half of your backward knot. Take your white string and then pull it through and towards the right side, that's towards the back, towards the right side, and then complete your knot. Now we're doing this again because we're going to be switching to our black string at the edge here, but I do not want you to make a mistake like again. So this is a very crucial part of the bracelet. Now, with what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring my black string in. I'm going to take my I'm going to take my red string and pass it under the final string and towards the left. Then I'm going to bring my black string back in and use that one to make like the last knot, which is going to be a backward forward knot. Now I'm doing this to lock my red string into place in this position. I did not pass it on top, I just passed it under and towards the other side. Now for the next row, we're going to make one more knot. That's going to be another backward forward knot using that same black string. And then I'm just going to count out my strings and leave them on different sides. If you want to do the same, you can. I find that it's easier for tutorial purposes if I do this. So now let's begin by making our backward forward knot on the edge here. Now I'm going to bring back our red string because we have to make just one back and forward knot using this red string. So you're going to make the first half of the forward knot and now pass that string under and towards the left this time, that's out of the way. And we're going to complete our forward knot. Now we're going to swap to our white string because we have to make 5 forward knots using the white string. And now we're going to swap back to our red string to make 1 forward knot. And we're going to pass the white string through it and also towards the left this time. We can just leave it down there because we're going to be swapping immediately. So just leave it down there like it's almost like a bass string. Put it together with your previous bass string and then bring your black into it, then pass the white towards the left. I hope you understand what I just did now. We're going to be making 4, no, 3 forward knots and 1 forward backward knot using that black string. And please make sure you check to be sure that your white strings and your red strings are not shooting out from the opposite color knots. Like, I hope your white isn't showing at the red side and your red isn't showing on the first white black knot. Hope that's not sticking out at all. And now for the next row, we're going to be making one backward forward knot and four forward knots. And then on the other side, we're going to remove two for the one black, one red, and then four that are going to be white, and then one red. So we're actually ready to start the bracelet. Okay. So going back to the right side, I'm going to make one forward backward knot, and then four backward knots. So now what we're going to do, we're going to take the red string and make one backward knot, and make sure you put your black string towards the right this time, the back. Complete your knots. Now bring your white string in, because we're going to use that to make four, yeah, four backward knots using the white string. So now we're going to bring back our red string to make the backward forward knot using that. Sorry, the backward knot using that string. And then we're going to pull our right string down. We're going to pass it through and then put it towards the left side. We're not going to do any left. I'm just going to leave it there like that. And we're going to complete our second knot, second half of the knot. Now we're going to hold the white and the black base string together. We're going to take our red string and we're going to pass it under the flat string on the left. That's the one on the edge. We're going to pass it away under that one and keep it to one side. Now holding your white and your black base string, bring back your black leading string and make your backward forward knot using that string. I hope this isn't very confusing for you. If you want to make it better, you can put your white string towards the right side now because we don't longer need it. And now make the second half of the knot. So it's going to be the forward part. So now to begin the next row, we're actually going to make a backward forward knot and a forward knot using the black string. Then one with the red string, two with the white, one red again, and the remaining will be the black string. So let's actually get started. So pick up your black leading string. I'm going to make one backward forward knot and one forward knot using that string. Now the next one, we're going to bring our red string in. We're going to swap to that one, make one forward knot. Now swap your string, move your black string towards the left this time. Like pass it under and then towards the left. Now bring your white string in, because we're going to be making two forward knots using this white string. So now we're going to swap to our red string to make another forward knot. And you're going to do this like you've been doing it before, where you just leave your white string down and then you complete the second half of your forward knots. Complete the second half of your forward knots. Now hold your white string to your black string and bring in the next string that's going to be your black leading string this time. Bring that one in. And then make 5 forward knots and 1 forward backward knot. And you can swap normally this time. So now what we're going to do, we're going to start from the left this time. We're going to remove three strings. We're going to use three black, two red strings, and then the remaining are going to be plain black. So getting started, make your first back forward backward knot as usual. Then we're going to make six backward knots. And now we're going to swap to our red string to make two backward knots using this string. And you can swap normally because we're not going to be using white, so it's going to be black and red. And now we're going to swap back to our black string to make two backward notes and one backward forward notes. And well, when we do this, we're currently finishing with the first eye. Can I call it eye? Yeah, it's an eye. So we're finishing with the first eye. And then we're going to make like a tiny bridge. I think that's the nose. I don't really know. But then we'll make that and then so now that we're done, we're going to make a row of plain knots. Just going to be plain knots. And I'm going to swap my string soon, so don't ignore that. I'm going to make one. So we're going to move our black string from where it currently is on the left towards the right side. And now I'm done. So we're going to begin by making the eye. We're going to be going in a reverse order from what we just finished. We're going to go from this previous row all the way to the first row of the eye. Hope you understand that. I really do hope. I really do hope you understand that. So I'm just going to count all my strings and we'll get started. So now we're going to get started by making a forward backward knots. And then we're going to be making six backward knots. And now we're going to swap to our red string again and make two backward knots using that red string. Remember to swap normally. And now we're going to swap to our black string to make the final two. Let's my your so to make the final two backward knots and then a backward forward knot. And now for the next row, we're going to get started by making two knots with black, one with red, and then two with, well, I'm not going to put it up. So let's get started by making the first one, which is going to be a backward forward knot, then one forward knot with the black string. And now we're going to be swapping. We're going to swap it normally. Bring your red string back into it. We're going to make one forward knot using the red string. Remember not to swap normally, meaning take the black string under and towards the left side. side this time. Now complete your red knots and bring back your white string. Yeah. So make two forward knots using the white string. You can swap normally this time. And now we're going to swap to our red string and making one. We're not going to be swapping normally, so we're going to leave the white string down, and then we're going to finish our knots, the second half of the forward knots. And now we're just going to hold that like that and bring our black string through and then pass the white string to the left. And now we're going to make five forward knots and one forward backward knot using the black string. And you can swap normally this time because we don't longer have any need for any of the other strings for this remainder of this row. And now for the next row, what we're going to be doing is one black, one red. We're counting from the left, mind you. And so we're going to have four white strings, and then the remaining are going to be four white strings, one red, and remaining are going to be black. So getting started, make your first forward backward knots, and then make four backward knots using your black string. And now we're going to bring in our red string and make a backward knot. We're not going to swap normally, so we're going to take the black string and pass it under and towards the right this time. Complete your second half of the backward knot. Now bring in your white string and make four backward knots using that white string. So now we're going to go back to our red string and we're going to swap like how we did a long time ago. So make the first half, pass your white string through but hold it as a base string, and then make your second half of the backward knot. Now using that white string, I'm going to lift up the last black base string and put it under and towards the left. Now I'm going to lift the other strings up and we're going to bring back our black leading string, and then you can remove your white string and push toward the other side. I'm going to use that black string and make one backward forward knot to end this row. Backward forward knot. And now to begin the next row, we're going to make another backward forward knot. Then I'm going to swap to a red string this time. I'm going to make one forward knot using the red string. And you would not swap normally. You take the black string through and towards the left again. And then you just go ahead and do your white string. Now I'm going to bring in the white string because we're going to make five forward knots using the white string. And you can swap normally here because we're going to go back to the red string either way after this. So now we're going to swap to our red string. Make the first half, take the white and hold it down as a base string. Pass it through, but hold it down. Then complete your second half of the forward knot. And then hold the white as a base string and bring in your black string. And then swap normally here. We're going to make in 3 forward knots and 1 forward backward knot. So now for the next row, we're going to make in 3 with black, 2 with the red, 4 with white, 2 with red, and then 1 with black. So we're just going to be making it like that. And now though we have completely arranged our string for the next row, let's get started. So getting started, we're going to make 1 forward backward knot and 2 backward knots. And then we're going to switch to our red strings and make 2 backward knots using our red strings. Now we're going to swap to our white string because we're going to be using this string to make 4 backward knots. And you can swap normally. So now we're going to swap to our red string. We're going to make 2 backward knots using this red string. And you can swap normally this time. Now, I want to say something like if I've been talking too fast, you can just slow the video down by like 0.5. I don't know how to say it on YouTube, but it's there. Like just click on speed and then slow it down. Sorry. So now we're going to take the red string and pass it under the last base string and towards the left. While we're going to bring in the we're going to bring in the black final black string and make a backward forward knot on that edge. Backward forward knot. So now we're going to be swapping to our red string. So we're going to do 2 backward knots using the red string. Sorry, 2 forward knots using the red string. I think you've noticed that my red string is short, so I'm going to swap it out soon. But we're going to introduce our white string now because we make 4 forward knots using the white string. And this is going to be the last row we make with the white string. So now we're going to swap back to our red string. You can see me introducing a new string because mine was short. So we're going to swap back to the red and we're going to make 2 forward knots using the red string. And now we're going to swap out back to our black string for the final, well, to end this row. We're making one forward knot and one forward backward knot. So now for the next row, we're going to take four strings. Counting from the left, you take four strings. Then we have seven strings. We're going to be using our red, well, red string on, and then one string for the side we are currently on, that's your right. So getting started, take your black string and make one forward backward knot. And now we're going to swap to our red string. Please do this carefully. Swap to your red string. We need to make seven backward knots using the string. And now we're going to swap back to our black string. We're going to make the remaining four. Hopefully it's four. We're going to make the remaining four, one of four, three backward knots and then one forward backward knot using the black string. So the next row we're going to make it with the plain black string. We're done with the eyes. So it's going to be plain rows. So if you made 20 rows before you started the first eye, you're going to make 20 rows now after the second eye. Please make sure you make an equal amount of rows. And I'll meet you back at the 20th row. So here we are now. We're going to make our shaped ends like triangle end. And we're going to bunch the two strings, the last two strings on the left together and make a backward forward knot there. Then we're going to make 8 forward knots because you're also going to bunch the last two strings on the right together. So now make the last two strings into one bunch together and then make a forward backward knot there. Now for the next row, you're going to add one string to each bunch on the right. So you're going to have 3 in each side and then you have 6 in the middle. So get started by making another forward backward knot. I'm going to swap my string out. You don't have to do this. And then we're going to make our 6 backward knots. And now for the end, we're going to bunch the last 3 again together, remember. We're going to make a backward forward knot here. So now we're going to add strings into the left bunch and the right bunch. So we have four in each, and we're actually going to have four in the middle. So let's get started with the left side by making another backward forward knot. Then we're going to make four forward knots, and then now we're going to add the extra string to the left, to the right bunch. And we're going to make that into a forward backward knot. Now we're going to add the strings into each bunch again. So we have eight on each side and two in the middle. So make another backward and forward backward knot. Then make two backward knots. And then on the other side, make a backward forward knot. And this is going to be somewhat like a last row. Add each of the strings into each side. So you have six here and six in the other one. And then make your backward forward knot on the left. And on the right, make a forward backward knot. And then if you want to, you can just choose to make one last knot over everything together. Which can be a forward backward knot in my case. You can just do any other knot you want to. And then for the ties, I am going to make pleated ties. I feel like that's going to be flat enough, and I can just divide the strings into four each. Take the string that's on the left, push it over the middle, take the one right over middle, left over middle, right over middle. That's too fast, but try. Left over middle, right over middle. That's basically how you make pleated ties. And that's all for this tutorial. Thank you for watching. I'm just going to show you how I cut off my string and do my outro. So if you've liked this video so far or you've watched here so far, please like and subscribe. And if you have any other pattern or any other tutorial you'd like me to make, please leave it in the comment section below. And make sure that your strings are secure before you start cutting the back off, please. You do not want your bracelet to come loose later. Or if you like, you can choose to add nail polish, plain nail polish to it, or glue. I don't do either of those, or you can make it tiny knots. Anyway, that is it for this tutorial. These are all the bracelets we've made so far in the order. And have a nice day.